What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and we have a brand new clan in Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. It is the Crimson Shadow clan. So of course, I'm going to do a full breakdown. But first, download Bloodline Heroes of Lithis, a mobile RPG action fighting game where you can marry your champions to create new and unique hybrids. Use the link in the description to start with some free stuff, including gold and diamonds. See you hopefully soon. Alright, so as per usual, we're going to take a look at the clan trait first, which is called Skeleton. And it says, when taking damage, increases crit damage reduction by some percent for 4 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Of course, this says 5.3% at epic level rarity, but it's going to be higher the higher the rarity. So this strikes me as a clan trait that I certainly won't be chasing, and it's fine on a hero like this because, of course, this is a tank, and that means taking less damage. It's probably not one I need to be putting on other champions at this point. We've got some really great clan traits that help to increase damage and buff the whole team and things like that. So this is fine. It's fine, but it's certainly not a clan you're going to go after for the clan trait. I also just want to remind you, in case you haven't noticed, like by looking in the summoning portal, this is not a summoning portal hero. We got Beast Feast going on right now, and you redeem the companion favorability and the mythic heroes in the store that's here. So you're going to have to do the event to get it. Now, Beast Feast, I feel like is more intimidating to people than it should be. It's actually a really easy event to get everything that you need totally for free. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the champions. We'll go into the renowned champion section here and take a good look at their skills. We do have a couple of really good tanks in this game. Let's see if this lives up to the hype. First, I like to look at the passive because that's the first thing that impacts the battlefield. And this one says, for each surviving allied champion in battle, increases the caster's crit evade rate by 6.5%. So you can see we got more crit evade, not only in the clan trait, but on this passive here. And the caster explodes upon dying, dealing damage to nearby enemies equal to 15% of the caster's max constitution, up to 2000% of the caster's strength. A couple of thoughts about this particular passive. So first, I'm not saying the clan trait is bad. It's just, I think, not super consequential. And we see it plastered here onto the passive as well. And if you've watched any of my videos before, and even across multiple games, I usually do not like effects that depend on your own heroes dying, unless you can get some kind of really good recurring resurrection effect going on where you can take advantage of that happening if there's some benefit to dying. I just don't think we're going to see this passive impact the battlefield all that much because it's crit evade rate and it's depending on the hero dying. So if the hero's dying, you're probably losing the match anyway, is kind of how I feel about this, especially if it's a tank and it's supposed to be your toughest hero. So I'm a little unenthusiastic about the passive, but let's take a look at the active skill, Soul Drain. Uh, drains the soul of the enemy champion with the highest current constitution, dealing true damage equal to 12% of the target's max constitution, up to 2000% of the caster's strength. I like to see that. True damage is great, ignoring all the defense stats and things like that, especially when it's based on current constitution. That can be a lot of damage, but it's going to be more impactful the earlier in the game. So the highest current constitution, there's a reason it's worded that way, by the way. We'll get to that. Permanently increases the caster's max constitution by the same amount of damage dealt. When draining the same target again, the target's max constitution is reduced by 60% of the damage dealt. So that's why that matters. Okay, so their constitution is going to be shrinking while yours is increasing. The caster becomes immune to control effects while the skill is active. And so, of course, we like to see that too. So this should be a pretty tough tank, at least as far as how the trait, the passive, and the active skill is reading right now, being immune to control as well. And let's see what the ultimate does. Spectral Dance charges up for 2 seconds, becoming immune to control effects, reducing damage taken by 50%, and continuously taunting nearby enemies. Taunt can be really, really good in this game. Upon charge completion, the caster sideswipes Scythe in a wide fan-shaped area, dealing true damage equal to 10% of the caster's max constitution to enemies in the area up to 2000% of the caster's strength, and generating a soul shield for self and the two nearest allies equal to 60% of the damage dealt this time, lasting 6 seconds. So now not only protecting self, but nearby allies as well. Units with the soul shield restore 1.8% of their max constitution per second. And how quickly these matches go, I can't see that being a whole lot of healing though. So what's my overall impression of the male? My impression is he's very tough. That's what he has going on. He's going to be really hard to kill probably. But he's slow, and that worries me. I think in this day and age, you really need a passive, especially a passive, but even an active skill that's gonna take over the game before ultimates are even able to go off. I'm not sure this passive does much of anything. And the active skill is fine, but it seems like this is a hero that gets better the longer the games go, and the games don't go that long. And it's not even, unless I'm wrong and there's something I'm not factoring in here, this doesn't even seem like one that's going to deal a ton of damage versus the really, really big bosses. I mean, there's true damage. It's a percent of strength, so it's not going to be out of this world, but that's good. That's good against bosses. That's fine against bosses. There are other heroes that do a similar kind of thing, but this is a hero that gets better the longer the matches go, and the matches in Bloodline just don't go that long. So I'm a little worried about the male. I wonder if the female's better. Let's take a look at her passive. Spectral Scrappy. The farther the enemy, the less damage they deal to the caster. Enemies at the caster's normal attack range deal 100% damage, while enemies in the back row deal only 55% of damage, scaling down to a minimum of 20% based on distance. So, another damage repelling type of hero. Nether Bondage. Creates a portable domain centered on the caster lasting 6 seconds. Enemies in the domain takes damage each second equal to 2.5% of the caster's max constitution up to 2000% of the caster's strength. With 80% of the damage converted into a shield lasting 6 seconds. When enemy champions enter the domain, an undead entity is summoned behind them, taunting them for 3.5 seconds. So I like the CC that we're seeing with both of these, to be quite honest, but here as well. The domain can summon a maximum of 2 undead, which cannot attack and die after taking 5 hits. So they're there to distract. But honestly, if the opponents are hitting these undead things that just don't even matter on the battlefield, they're not hitting your team. That could be really interesting, especially against like Male Ascavarge or really anything. Like sometimes just distracting the entire enemy team for like a couple of seconds could give your team enough to just use the passives and the actives to tilt the match in your favor, and then perhaps the ultimate finishes them off. That could be a really underrated effect, I think. So that's interesting. Then we're looking at Skeletal Strike. The ultimate swings shield, dealing damage to enemies in a fan-shaped area in front of the caster equal to 18% of the caster's max constitution up to 2000% of the caster's strength. Knocking them back a great distance. If knocked back, enemies collide with others. Those hit are also knocked back, taking damage equal to 80% of the shield swing damage. So again, this could mess up another. This could mess up another Male Ascavarge type of strategy here, with the CC of being able to knock back opponents, and that could be a lot of damage. 18% of the caster's max constitution. If you can really get her constitution up, like a really highly vigored, energetic female, I think she's more intriguing than the male is to me. I think she's the better one. And I'd say there's some mystery surrounding how good she's gonna be. I think she's a meta buster type of hero. She is not a meta hero in that, like when you just put Male Water and Sun, like when Male Water and Sun came out, it's just like you have to have Male Water and Sun, and it doesn't matter what the meta is. You just like plug him in, and the whole meta shifts around him. Right? That's not her. I don't think she's going to be successful in every single meta ever. But when you get a specific meta where right now Male Ascavarge is like pushing people around and stuff like that, she could potentially be pretty good at busting up that type of meta and being really tough. She could be a plugger in type of hero in certain times where you like sometimes need to have her on the bench and she's fully leveled up and you don't ever get rid of her, and then sometimes you bring her in off the bench and you're playing her, and so it could help to create a rock, paper, scissors type of meta potentially, but we're just going to have to test her out and see. Between the two, she's the one that intrigues me a little bit more. I think that's who I'm probably going to be going after. Again, remember, you're going to need to do the Beast Feast in order to get the companion and the mythic version of the hero. So good luck to you. I would love to know your thoughts, by the way, in the comments. So let me know. If you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and I will catch you in the next one.